Hello Internet, my name is Hazel from Hazel Nutty Games, and this is my defeat of the Four Horsemen, also known as Baron Rivendare, from the Curse of Naxxramas Hearthstone expansion. This is the final boss of the military quarter, and he is rather unique. You'll notice that he has little blue dolphins, or water, or magic, or something encircling his portrait. This means he is invincible. This is being granted to him by his 3 horsemen minions, and that's kind of what makes it a 4 horseman fight. This is different from the normal version in that each of the horsemen have 2 attack each, and he will have 14 health instead of 7. So, the deck list is overlaid on the screen on the left-hand side, so you can check it out if you are curious. I will say that this is not exactly what I would recommend to beat this fight, even though it worked for me. Having played this game, there's definitely some recommendations I would make. So here we go, we play our Northshire Cleric, buff it up to 5 to make it live a little longer, and we pull our acidic swamp Ooze, which is perfect. He goes ahead and pops Frostbolt. Now this boss has a ton of minion removal. I don't actually think he has any minions aside from the 3 that he starts with, but almost all of his hand is just minion removal. It's really gross. So one of the main reasons I chose Priest was just for that reason right there. Shadow Word Pain will just, for 2 mana, annihilate one of those 3 horsemen. You can silence the horsemen as well, and that will get rid of the immunity they grant him if you can manage to silence all of them with something like a Mass Dispel, but I prefer to get rid of them because the damage they do every turn adds up pretty quickly, so it's really better to get them off the board. There we go, we pop our Swamp Ooze to get rid of his weapon. He Shadow Bolts it, but that's okay, at least he doesn't have a blade anymore. And he's hitting us for 4 every turn. So here we go with Stampeding Kodos. If you don't have 2 of these, I recommend it for this fight. If you're having any trouble, it's awesome. It will, of course, annihilate one of the horsemen. There's really no doubt about that. And then you get a nice 3/5 body on the board. He removes it, but, you know, that's just kind of what he does. And now he's down to 2 damage every turn. So now it's time for Cabal Shadow Priest. This will let you permanently steal one of his minions, which actually gives you immunity. I'm surprised this is not one of the cards that Kel'Thuzad has decided against. And he's going to go ahead, pop a bunch of removal to get rid of my Shadow Priest, and then he's going to have to pop even more to get rid of his own horseman. There goes the corruption. So we have 1 turn left with that, but that's quite alright. We're at 14 health, which exactly matches his. He has no horseman left, so he's no longer immune. And there we go. So I Mind Vision, I grab a Silence with that. I don't know how good I feel about the Mind Visions in this, because you're just going to pull minion removal. While you can pull things like Silences and Shadow Word Pains to get rid of the horsemen, usually I find it's not super useful. As for my own 2 Silence that I'm running this deck, I would absolutely get rid of those because I prefer to delete or kill the horsemen rather than silencing them. I would get rid of them. They're taking up extra space. And as you can see, we get a little bit tight for minions, so I would much rather have a minion that I can try and get to stick to the board than those extra silences. There you go. You can see he's clearing my board pretty efficiently, but I am winning in terms of health. His hero power is not actually the most overpowered thing ever. For 5 mana, he's going to draw 2 cards, which is going to keep his hand pretty full. But it also means he's going to be drawing through his deck much faster. He will sometimes draw up to 3 cards per turn. A good thought as to what you could replace those silences with is I would play around with Coldlight Oracle. It would be fun to see if you can mill him out. And an extra card draw for you is also going to be great because then you won't get stuck in situations like this where you just have silences. As you can see, he's such a cheater, using class cards from many different classes. And he goes ahead and silences my minion for me, which is actually good. I don't want that really popping, but then again, I don't think he has any minions for that to draw, so Deathlord is a good pick for this deck. There we go. So he's just burning through his cards trying to get rid of it. We pull our second Swamp Ooze, and I dump it out just to get a minion on the field. As you'll see in a second, that turned out to be a mistake. The biggest danger with this boss, once you've taken out his horseman, is that if he puts his Runeblade on, his Runeblade is going to be an 8/3 Runeblade, so it would have been really spiffy if I had hung on to that Acidic Ooze, but you know, that's alright. He goes ahead and buffs the weapon and his non-existent minions by 1/1, and decides to use the first charge on my Ooze, which I'm fairly thankful for, because that is a 9/3 Runeblade at this point. So I go ahead and pop a Lightwell, heal up a little bit, and hope I top deck something better. Again, I would have been much better ahead at this point if I hadn't had both of those silences. They really didn't do me much good, so I would switch those out for something else. Alright, so he smacks me for 9. That kind of sucks, but it means he leaves my Lightwell up, so that's going to heal me back for 3. And I can, of course, heal myself. So, Mind Vision, what do we get? We get a Redemption. Yeah, it's something. There we are, heal ourselves, and pass the turn. Up to 18 health, so we can survive 2 hits with that weapon, which is unfortunately the amount he has left. And he silences my Lightwell, ouch, which draws him another card. He is getting a little bit low on cards. There we are. And I'm a priest, so I can heal myself. I'm not too upset. I decided to pop the Mass Dispel just for the card draw at this point, and go ahead, Mind Blast, get him down to 1, heal myself up, and cross your fingers for a really good top deck. So there you go. He goes ahead and smacks me, but his weapon is gone. He Shadow Repaints the Lightwell, but this is actually kind of interesting. The Redemption that I think I Mind Visioned brings it back to 1 life, and that actually takes a silence off it because it died and came back. So that's once again going to be healing me, which is kind of neat. There we go. And it decides to heal itself, but that's okay. It's been through a rough day. Go ahead and heal myself up, hang on to the Shadow Repain, which we're not going to need. This is the tough phase of the fight. This deck could definitely be tweaked to make this part easier, but getting past the Horseman is really the big deal. And he's at 1 health. So here we are. Sunfury Protector. He's also out of cards, which means something beautiful is about to happen. He repentances it, but you know, that's alright. That's okay, because we end the turn and fatigue. I do think that that could happen a lot faster if you're running Coldlight Oracles. I'd like to experiment with that, so give it a try. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!